Hi, welcome to Faith Life. I'm Joy Sunday, and today on Faith Life, we'll be having a program called Practical Bible with Reverend Graceman. And like we all know, on Practical Bible, we put our men of God on the spot to discuss very controversial issues that need clarity and answers among believers. On today's discourse, we'll be talking about Christians and white wedding. Now, the big question is, should Christians conduct white wedding? What's the biblical basis for white wedding? Do we have any account of persons who conducted white wedding in the Bible? Can a man have sex with his supposed wife after paying the bride price? These and many more are some of the questions that will be addressed on today's discourse. Well, before I call on the men of God to the program fully, do well to follow us on Facebook at Elite TV, on YouTube at Elite TV, and on Instagram at Graceman for Life. Subscribe to our channel, like, share, and comment. Don't forget to also drop your questions as the program goes on. Once again, I'm Joy Sunday, and at this point, we'll make welcome God's servant, Reverend Graceman, Debo, Adeleye. Good day, sir, and you're welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure once again to be on Faith Life.
We're glad to have you on Faith Life once again.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine.
All right, sir. Today's program will be on white wedding and Christians.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, before I go back to the questions for today, rather, I would like to make a comment on your video I saw this month or last month on Easter blog, Linda EKG blog, and some other top blogs. You were training all through the month, and people were even calling us like, is it that pastor you do? I said, yes, so he's a grace man. So I would like you to tell our viewers what that particular video was all about.
Yeah, I think I was talking about getting the right perspective about marriage.
Wow.
That the reasons, if you look at the society today, there are so many bombardment in the media about, dysfunctional values.
Wow, yeah.
About marriage, why people should get married and stuff like that. And simply because of the business people, especially the e-commerce people, marketing sexually enhanced products, sex enhanced products,
Yeah.
and and it tells you that it's all about bola, it's all about sex, it's all about this, it's all about that. And then, it gets annoying to find out the way the media is shaping the mind of the young people these days to have, a misdirection and wrong motives about marriage and relationship. So I was talking about don't get married for sex. That if you get married for sex, at some time you are going to get tired. I've been married for 21 years now, and I can tell you from experience that your drive for sex when you got married earlier is not your drive for sex now, after 21 years of marriage, is not as strong as your drive for it when you first of all got married. Yeah. You had few things in your head at the beginning, but now you have a lot of things, juggling for your attention and stuff like that. Yeah. And of course, age is also telling. So I said to people, if you get married because you want to have good sex, then you are going to get to a point where you are going to ask yourself, after sex, what is it? So I think it was the issue of ta-ta-ta-ta-ta that got their attention.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I said, when you start with ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, at some point it will be ta-ta-ta-ta, then some point it will be ta.
I also saw a comedy skit that was done with that whole video you did, and people were using to create different comedy skits, and it was just all over the social media. Wow, we're really happy to have you on this program, and we're proud that we have a pastor that can tell us that this is it and this is it. Practical Bible at our doorstep.
Thank you very much.
Really grateful.
Thank you very much.
So we'll go to the topic for today, and it's on white wedding. Is white wedding biblical or compulsory for Christians? So let me start with the first question. First of all, what is white wedding?
White wedding is a traditional wedding of some countries.
Oh.
It's an English tradition that has been imported, maybe because of colonization.
Okay.
You know, we're colonized by the British, and so when you are colonized by a tradition, you tend to, you know, adopt everything that comes from that angle. So I think it's about colonization that affects the perception people have about white wedding, and the body of Christ has come to accept it as a standard, which is not supposed to be. White wedding is an English wedding.
Okay.
Yes, it's basically English wedding. The British wedding, or the Western wedding.
Okay.
They believe, you know, you can appear in court or before any legitimate or government-approved marriage institution to legalize your marriage, appearing in white as a bride, and appearing in black and white suit, well, black suit and white shirt as the groom. So that's basically about it. There's nothing that, you know, scripturalized white wedding in the Bible.
Okay, wow. So we have the next question as what's the origin of white? I think you've actually talked about that as being due to colonization and all. Then the next question is there any biblical basis for white wedding?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely no. And I stand to be corrected by anybody. There's no biblical reference to white wedding. Quote and unquote. You know, so as to say.
So this being the trend nowadays, I see we youths, we want to make it so flamboyant and we want to actually make it loud. People should hear, I did white wedding. So is it compulsory for Christians, as a Christian youth, is it compulsory I must do this, in quotes, white wedding?
It's not compulsory as a Christian if you can't afford it.
Okay.
But you know, I think a lot of people buy into it because of the glamour and the grandeur that comes with it. Is, you know, there's a way it has been packaged and it looks so corporate, so, you know, it's like, you know, fitting into the social status and the social demands of the society. And that's why people have come to adopt white wedding as a way of legalizing their marriage.
Wow. Okay, so for this white wedding, you've talked about why it's referred to as white wedding, and I would also want to ask, we know we Christians, we do this white wedding. Is it a sin if someone should decide, I don't want to have a white wedding?
It's not a sin. I know a couple of friends who didn't do white wedding, and even their pastors. It's not a sin. They just, you know, observed the traditional rites and did what is required between the two families getting involved, and then it went to court and you know, legalized the marriage, legitimized it, and then went to their pastors and they prayed for them, and that was it. Marriage is...
Talking about the pastor and the rest, so let's say in the absence of a white gown and a pastor's blessing, for instance, I'm really particular about the pastor's blessing. Should a marriage be referred to as a sinful union? Let's say they just did the traditional marriage and there's no pastor's blessing, no white wedding in quotes. Should it be referred to as a sinful union?
No. Once the two families involved, giving out and receiving, you know, giving out the bride and receiving the bride, come to an agreement and they are able to meet the customs of the bride's, you know, family. I think marriage is already established. Once the parents, the biological parents or anybody standing in that capacity gives out the bride to the groom, I think marriage is already established. And what I would just say is that, you know, we have both physical parents, biological parents, and spiritual parents. It's also important that we find a priest to make a pronouncement and bless the marriage. That is a representation of what happened in Genesis chapter 1 verse 27, 28. The Bible says, and God blessed them. So that somebody has to stand in the capacity, in the office of the priesthood to bless the marriage. If you're a believer, if you're a Christian, And so that doesn't have to happen before congregations in the church. That doesn't have to happen, on Saturday. That can happen any day. You can finish service on Sunday and say, okay, you and your bride or your wife goes to the pastor in his office, and he blessed you, and in the company of some elders. And that is it. You are free to live your life.
Wow, wow, wow. This is really, really educative. Well, if you've not done so, please kindly go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel at Elite TV, follow us on Facebook at Elite TV, and on Instagram at Graceman for Life. Once again, I remain Joy Sunday, your host. If you have any questions, please don't forget to send your questions into the comment section, and Reverend Graceman is all set to answer your questions. Okay, sir. So move to the next questions for this program. The question says, when does the marriage union become a legitimate union? Soon after the dowry payment or after the white wedding, just in case they decide to have a white wedding?
After the dowry payment, marriage is already established.
Okay, wow. Yes. So in the Bible, do we have any record of white wedding being conducted?
No, not that I remember. The closest to it was, and I call it a traditional wedding, was the marriage at Cana in Galilee in John chapter 2.
Yeah.
I think Jesus was there as a family friend. Mary, Jesus. It was not a religious gathering. It was not a church setting. In those days it was synagogue. So it was not it was a family setting.
Wow.
So it was family setting. So they had, where Jesus came in was that wine was exhausted, and he has to bring his divinity to intervene into humanity so that they can be saved and be delivered from shame. So it was not that, okay, Jesus was there and said, who gives this person to be married to this person? Do you love this person and accept him as your love and personal savior?
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. There's really a strong point there. Now, when should traditionally married couples, for instance, couples that are traditionally married, when should they have sex if they intend to maybe have the white wedding conducted? Is it after payment of the bride price or after the white wedding?
What I'm going to say about that is going to be, I know it's going to draw some attention.
Yeah.
But I think that once two people agree to be together as husband and wife, and they've presented themselves before their families, and the families have come together and have done the traditional rite and everything, I think marriage is already established.
Okay.
If they go ahead to want to do the white wedding, quote and unquote, the church wedding,
yes,
that depends on their doctrine in the church.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? But in a church where I'm privileged to pastor, if you have indicated the interest of doing church wedding, and which of course you must keep yourself, not have sex together until marriage. Sex is only permitted and recommended within the context of marriage. It's not recommended outside the context of marriage. So if after traditional wedding you indicate interest to do church wedding, which should not be far from the traditional wedding, we advise them to wait until church wedding is over before they can consummate the marriage. But if they choose not to wait, they have not committed anything because they are married.
Okay.
They are married in the eyes of tradition, in the eyes of the parents of the two people involved. They are married.
Okay.
And in the eyes of the church, they are married. And if they choose not to do church wedding, they can start living their lives.
Wow. This is really educative. So another question here says, must the white gown be worn by the bride?
I don't see a reason for that.
Okay.
I don't think it is important. Like I said earlier, this is about English tradition.
Yeah.
They say, okay, if you are a bride, a new bride, fresh bride, you wear white color. If you are a single parent, or you are doing marriage blessing, you wear off color, cream color, and stuff like that. But I don't believe in that. It's just color. You understand what I'm saying? Because like Jesus said, he said, a lot of the Pharisees, he described them as white sepulchre.
Yeah.
Sepulchre means graveyard. He described them as white sepulchre. That's, many of you are white sepulchre. You are white outside, while you are actually rotten inside. So it's more about what is inside. The emphasis to God is about what is inside, not what is outside.
Wow.
A lot of people who wear white today are very, very rotten outside, inside. And they just wear the white to cover up things. And then when they get into the marriage and they remove the white, you begin to see a lot of face.
Wow. Whoa, this is really, really... So, sir, I want to also ask about this same topic now, but a bit out of it. What if the couple decides they just want to have a priest come over to the office? They just want to like have a priest come over to their house. Let's say they don't want to go to the church to do the blessing, and they want the priest to come over to their house to do the blessing. What do you think about that?
It's okay. It's okay. Only that if you are inviting somebody like me to pull me out of my church, out of my office, to your house to come and bless your marriage, then you're going to pay a lot. Just joking on a lighter mood.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's really, really obvious that you have a thing for marriage, relationship, love, and all of it. And if we can only but apply most things you tell us on marriage, love, and all, I think we would have a lot to learn.
Definitely, because over the years I've come to learn a lot. I've come to study, through experience. I've been married 21 years now, and I think I have the authority to say some things and guide the youth in the direction of what to do about marriage.
Okay, so sir, at this point, do you have any advice to give to us, the viewers, youth, young ones?
Definitely. Definitely. What I'm going to say about this is that if you are planning to marry, and I think one of the problems we have in the society, why we have most single parents and broken relationships and stuff like that, is because the society has been able to frame our mind into thinking that the wedding day is the D-Day, and which is wrong. It's a dysfunctional way of thinking about marriage. The wedding day is an introduction to a life you are going to live forever. It's an introduction to a life that is either going to make you or going to marry you. So what I advise to people who has found themselves eligible and good enough to live as husband and wife is that once you have that conviction, don't delay. Don't be trying to work up yourself looking for money to do wedding. You can carry out a very, very low budget wedding and move on with your life. You get what I'm saying? Because it's getting crazy out there. Honestly, it's getting crazy out there. There's a lot of people, and in waiting for a glamorous wedding, a lot of things are compromised. A lot of things are compromised. They get involved with each other, having intimate, being intimate with each other, and sometimes it leads to pregnancy, and leads to abortion, it leads to many things, and so it has not been yielding out well, trying to fit into the societal demand. So I think that youth should get their priority right. If you think that marriage is okay for you, then get married. And I even recommend in our church low budget marriage, that I can wed you together now once both parents agreed to give and receive their daughter and their sons in marriage. We can gather in my office and I will bless your marriage. Do you love this man? Yes, I love him. Do you want to marry him? Yes, I do. That is marriage. Wow. You understand what I'm saying? All of that things are just ceremony. So, like I'm telling you, I know you are not married. And then in case you intend to marry very soon, don't put yourself under pressure to try to impress the society. Don't fit into the box the society has created for you. Just go ahead and make a low budget wedding and have a glorious life. I prefer a low budget wedding and a beautiful, bountiful marriage than a high budget wedding and a low life marriage.
Wow, that's true. Well, at this point, we've come to the end of this educative episode of Faith Life, Practical Bible with Reverend Graceman. As you all know, on Faith Life, we bring answers to all your questions on the Bible and practical basis of the Bible. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel at Elite TV, follow us on Facebook at Elite TV, and on Instagram at Graceman for Life. We've come to the end of this educative program, and I'm so glad we had Reverend Graceman in the studio today, and this has been really, really educative. Like, share, and comment. Send in your questions anytime. He's here to answer all your questions. Stay tuned as I come your way next time, and we'll bring more exciting episodes your way on Faith Life. We celebrate you.